I always tell people patience will get you a lot of results. And when you align that patience with a lot of hard work, your blessings come. Sometimes when you rush and you try to just get out here and do things, it's forced energy. If you just take your time, everything will align itself.
You are now listening to the BV Mobile Apps Podcast. The show is designed to help you grow your mobile app audience and get advice from experts in your industry. Now, here's your host, Sean Garvey.
Welcome to another great edition of the BV Mobile Apps Podcast. I am your host, the architect here, Sean Garvey. I want you all to stay tuned because we're going to give you some important information on how you can be a part of the BV Mobile Apps brand and much more. In the meantime, between time, I have a very special guest on the telephone lines from Chicago, one of my favorite places in the country. He is currently a representative of Def Jam. He works in the lifestyle marketing division at Def Jam. And not only that, but he released an album called Minimal Water about 2 years ago. And he also released an album called 31 Days of Water. He's doing a lot. And he also has the Stack or Starve app, which of course is courtesy of BV Mobile Apps. We're going to get into all that and more in just a few moments. But I would love to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, listening to us on the BV Mobile Apps Podcast, we have Doe from the Go. Good day, Doe. What's going on?
Yo, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak to myself and the BV Mobile Apps Podcast listeners.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so lifestyle marketing, I never heard of that type of division before. Go ahead and break down to us, what is the lifestyle marketing division?
Def Jam's a client. It's been one of my most steady accounts for the past 5 years now. Shout out everybody over there, EP, J.O., and Mozzie and everybody else, Shampoo, whatever, I see you. So basically, what we deal with basically is just figuring out and also pushing the brands, whether it's artists or just the actual label or the music itself. I also deal with mix show too. So with mix show, it's like just monitoring the records and pushing the records forward. Getting in the club, breaking certain songs, and just babysitting them and just keeping the temperature on them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got certain records that might come out and they need a little push in every market, and then you got certain records that just happen to just blow on their own. But for all in all, we just we do everything from street team presence to lifestyle parties. We just did a 35th anniversary party for Def Jam here in Chicago. They also dropped a Puma sneaker. They did a collaboration with, so that was dope. We had Complex Con here in Chicago, so we was able to push the brand forward twice that week. We did something with Cavassier and Puma, so that was real lit. And we just do things like that, man. We just push forward. But I'm just a music guy in general, so I have a lot going on as far as accounts are concerned. So I'm not in the building. I'm just in the Chicago market. But when it's time to do things, for that particular label, I definitely hold it down and make sure that those tasks are complete. You know what I mean? But I do handle so much that I cram it all into a day's time. So it's not just Def Jam. It's like maybe 20, 30 other things from my own artists that I manage to my brands that I'm handling, because I got a clothing line as well. So it's just kind of like a lot of juggling. But I'm definitely built for the task. I don't have any children or anything, so I'm able to just focus and push.
Hey man, I'm in the same boat with you. I'm in this radio game, and it seems almost every day is like a 24-hour grind. Even when you are asleep, you're still working. So
exactly.
So I understand.
That's the truth. The best hours for me every day is between that 1 and 5, 6 a.m. hour. Because my phone doesn't ring as much. I'm not being bothered a lot, so I can get a lot of work done around then. And then, take meetings during the day, go to events and stuff at night, and then just kind of figure out how to work the sleep in from there.
So let me ask you, like, has this always been your calling, is to help promote artists and making sure that the artists get the kind of service, get the kind of critique that they need to make it in this industry? Has that always been your calling, or?
Absolutely, absolutely. Since a teenager, I mean, obviously, I started off, producing songs and music and beats and engineering, etc. And then that kind of moved on into the executive side of things when it comes to taking care of business. And I saw a lot of people around me, their business wasn't being handled. The copyrights wasn't done. The trademarks wasn't done. They didn't know how to push the music or market the music. So I just started to dabble in that, and that's where the Stack of Star brand came from. Because Chicago never had a mixtape brand that puts forward in the streets. So we were the first mixtape brand to actually break a lot of artists from the drill movement. We kind of did the same thing Drama did with Gangsta Grills, but we just took it to another level when it came to drill music. We had artists like Chief Keef, Lil Durk, King Louie, Dreezy, Tink, so many, Sasha Gohar, so many artists that came from the Chicago area and the Chicago scene. What I did was I started a DJ coalition, the Stack of Star DJs, which ranged from DJs like DJ Victorious, etc. And what we did was we broke a lot of artists from a mixtape standpoint in the streets. And once the streets got a bite of it, man, it took off from there. And a lot of these artists that we broke, they went on to blow up and have their own careers.
I know. I know you sound like a very humble guy, and you're not this type of person that say, "Oh, well, I deserve this. I deserve the credit all in the world and all the other stuff." But you breaking it all down to aspiring artists and DJs, like, "Hey, look, I do this. This has always been my calling. This is something that I love to do, and I just love hearing that. That is just so empowering, man." But talk to us, man, about being in the industry, because you've been in the industry for a minute, and you've seen the triumphs and the challenges that artists have been through in their profession. Like, what are some of the people that you've seen do right, or what are some of the mistakes you've seen artists do in your profession?
Just putting a rush on things. I always tell people, patience will get you a lot of results. Because it's just the way the universe works. You know what I mean? And when you align that patience with a lot of hard work, your blessings come. Sometimes when you rush and you try to just get out here and do things, it's forced energy. But if you just take your time, and everything would align itself. So I've seen a lot of rushed action, and I've seen a lot of patient people, never give up, and here we are.
Yeah. They say patience is a virtue. but patience will definitely make you not only humble, but it'll make you even more hungrier. It's like, and
then you just understand just the challenges and the balances and the options of life. And that's something I had to do. I went through a lot, just sacrificing, working a 9 to 5, quitting that 9 to 5 to pursue music industry, and never looking back, and being homeless and sleeping on floors and under tables and in abandoned buildings, and washing up in studios, and surviving off of concession stand snacks, and I've been through that. So I say that to say this, it's just really all about how you align your vision and what you see for yourself. You know what I mean? And you just never stop. You keep going.
I came up in radio, and I always had people that would give me expert advice on how to make it in the industry. But it's always that one mentor that stands out from the rest, and it could be somebody you could still be aligned with to this very day, you still talk to, or you still go to advice. Do you have a mentor, and if so, who is that mentor that mentored you through your journey in the industry?
My big homie Deca Durs, like my big brother, Deca Durs was definitely one of the first just to embrace me. We like 23 years in now. I met him in 96. Once we met, and I was able to see what he was doing back then. You know, he was like one of the only cats, you know, whose crib I went over, and he had beat machine. He had a sock over a mic hanging down from the ceiling. And I thought that was impressive because he would have all these rappers come over and they'd be freestyling, and they'll be like in these ciphers. And you know, this dude really had something going on from the hip hop standpoint, and just it was culture. And I was astounded by that because I'm 16, and you know, I just wanted to be around that energy, you know. And he taught me a lot about music, about beats, and then he also supported me as I started my journey in the music business as a guy who's behind the scenes. So that's definitely a mentor of mine, and I always hold him in that place. But I also got to give a special shout out to my homegirl, one of my best friends, Missy B, who also plays an intricate part in my career. You know, she aligned me with a lot of different situations and accounts, and she also helped out with the Stack of Star brand tremendously. So shout out to Missy B. You know what I'm saying? It's forever with Missy as well.
Okay, shout out to Missy, and shout out to the people that have helped you along the way. For those who are just tuning into the BV Mobile Apps podcast, I am talking to Doe from the Go, works in the lifestyle marketing division at Def Jam, and he has his own app called Stack or Starve app. We're going to talk a little bit about that in just a few moments right here on the BV Mobile Apps podcast. And I want to say this moving forward. We are a podcast that helps educate and inform people on how to grow their brand, their name, and or their services. And we have a lot of new people that are new to the industry listening to the podcast. And they want to get expert advice from people who are already established in the industry. And one of the things that I learned growing up in the industry is that attending conferences are also important to make you even more professional than ever before. Like, what kind of conferences do you go to, and what have you taken away from those conferences?
I go to a lot of network conferences. I definitely like to just sit in a room with a lot of creatives and people of different walks of life, and people who are just in business, whether it's music business, whether it's podcast business, app business, whatever the type of business they're in. I'm always one of those guys that's just open to learning and just figuring out how success emerges. And what I'm taking away is just collaboration, you know, more collaboration, more humbleness when it comes to just meeting people and exchanging energy. And, you know, it's just that collaborations happen because collaborations always get you results when, you know, two people think alike or have great thoughts.
What about books? By the way, I've always been told that books and publications are helpful in becoming successful. What kind of books or publications do you read?
A book I just finished is Manage Your Day to Day, and there's another book called Subliminal that I like. What's another book that I like a lot? There's one called Double Deal that I read. The rapper AZ got a dope book called Jewels, Gems, and Treasures. Yeah. You know, I'm just one of those guys that, you know, once I see a book, I read it, I get done with it. I don't like to, like, read a book and then, like, you know, put a bookmark in it. You know, once I read it, I want to finish it and intake all information right then and there.
Okay, I'm the complete opposite. I got so much stuff going on. I'm like, hey, look, I'm going to have to put a bookmark in this and come back. But it's definitely a great read, you know.
Yeah, whatever your process is, that's your process. Me, personally, that's how I do it.
Let's switch gears for a moment and talk about the relationship, the business relationship that you have with Missy. You just spoke very highly of her a few moments ago, and you all work with each other on making this Stack or Starve app going. And so what was it about Missy that told you, you know what, I need to work with her, she needs to work with me in order to get this app going? What was it about Missy?
It's funny because we met I would say that was like 2006, maybe no, 2007. We met on MySpace, and I reached out to her because MySpace. One thing I can say about that website is I did a lot of networking. You know, I was just one of those guys who was just eager to just meet people and build. So I saw this, and she was also, at the time, we were all living in Atlanta. Atlanta was like between 2004 and 2008, there was a lot of people who moved to Atlanta from different areas. And I know it's like that now, but back then, in that realm of time, it was a lot of people who moved from different areas down to Atlanta, just from every aspect, whether they were, aspiring, trying to make it, do this, do that. And what I liked about her is she was pushing. She was a female pushing. She was associated with, a couple radio stations, and I just liked how she moved. So we met up one time at Juice. Rest in peace, Juice. Juice had a networking event she used to do for Juice Magazine, and I met her there. And then from there, we had a conversation, and the energy was great, and we just remained best friends from there. And then from there, everything else was just a support system amongst each other. She ended up moving back to New York. I ended up moving back to Chicago, and then we just stayed intact, and we were able to just powwow and push forward. Even if we wasn't in the same room, we made so much happen. We would be on the phone for 3 to 5 hours, just knocking out work, building the brand. She'd hit the streets, shoot a lot of DVD footage. I hit the streets, shoot a lot of DVD footage. We come back to the table, figure out how to get it to each other, how to edit, how to push. Start the DJ coalition. Let's do these conference calls. Let's figure out some releases. Let's do the first female mixtape ever been done. She's responsible for that. A brand called Female Flow. And we did like 6 volumes of that mixtape. Things like that. We were real instrumental in just trying to create something for history's sake. So again, it's great energy with me and her. Every time we get together, we always do great things.
A lot of great things come out of the industry, not just only the music industry, but just the entertainment industry as a whole. When you have a great team of people working with you and collaborators, I always tell my interns and students, you need a team. You can't sit here and say, well, I've done everything on my own, I made it. It's a team or someone that you collaborate with that have helped you get to where you are to this very day. So That's right. Yeah.
That's right. I got interns. I have 2 assistants, interns, and I always make sure I keep them around so that I can bring them and expose them to certain things, and they can be able to, have the experience and also build some relationships along the way. So that's very important.
Yeah. I'm glad to have you on the phone lines, BV Mobile Apps Podcast, Doe from the Go, a representative of the lifestyle marketing division over at Def Jam. And the reason why I say I'm so glad to have you on the phone lines is because I always wanted to talk to a representative from Def Jam. Like, Def Jam to this very day, though, is, I think, the best record label ever in hip hop. And like, I've seen the transformation over the years, 20 some odd years, or 30 years, I should say, where Def Jam has become, from where it got started to where it is now. So many great artists from Def Jam that have came from Def Jam. LL Cool J, Method Man, Redman, Jay-Z. Oh my God! I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. Run DMC, LL Cool J, many others. And like to this very day now, artists are gravitating to the independent side. It's artists that say, well, I don't want to be on a label, I want to be independent. And so as a professional like yourself in the industry, is every artist meant to be on a label, or, do you think there are certain artists that do need to be on a label, and then there's some artists that just need to be independent. Let's say is every artist meant to be on a label?
I wouldn't say every artist is meant, but one thing about the record label is they have their pros and cons. Sometimes it's the machine, sometimes it's the know-how, sometimes it's the relationships. With an independent, depending on who's running that independent, if you're somebody who also possesses those same things or similar things as a major, you could also be a successful independent label, like QC, for example. You know what I mean? At that point, you just need a great distributor that you partner with to just help collect the funds and do a couple other things outside of what the label's already doing. So, it's a give and gab with the independent game. You know what I mean? If you got the right infrastructure and you have the right relationships and you know who to outsource, you could be an independent label and have $1 million cash liquid, but if you know how to use that money and how to outsource it correctly, you can be just as successful as a major. It's just all about the know-how. If I had a major label connect, I would probably want to just partner with him.
Right.
If I had my own indie label and I was working the capital that I was satisfied with, because at this point I built so many contacts with DJs, PDs, etc., outlets. I know who to outsource if I had to spend some money. So I wouldn't. I would just do partnerships with the label myself. But every artist is not meant to be on a major. Every artist can be independent. It's just all about, if you know what you're doing when it comes to running your company and how to structure it properly.
What does Def Jam mean to you?
It's iconic. As a kid, just the logo itself, just having them as a client, is a great thing, being able to just put in work for something, a brand so big, and having accolades coming from that. So those are one of those accounts that I value wholeheartedly.
Stack or Starve app available right now. I encourage people to go and download it. And when people go and download the app, what can they expect?
Music videos from the YouTube channel. We have a lot of content on that. We also have mixtapes that you can see and download and stream. A lot of our mix shows are on the app as well, and the music part of it, and posts from the website. So it's like a multitude of things, as well as photos from events, etc. So yeah, it's a great app, man. Just to kind of just keep people aware of what the brand's doing, where the brand was, and where it's going.
All right, man. A few more minutes until we end the podcast here, BV Mobile Apps Podcast. Sean Garvey on the telephone lines with Doe from the Go Lifestyle Marketing Division over at Def Jam, and also has his own app, Stack or Starve app. I mean, the name is self-explanatory. Stack or Starve, meaning give money or starve to death. Is that that's basically okay?
That's right. That's right. Something the streets can relate to it. It's a big movement now. One thing about it is I do take credit for creating the thought, but not the words. The words are just a way of life. But as far as the just the start of it, I'm definitely the one who put it in the atmosphere.
I want to go back really quick and talk about artists, or continue to talk about artist development. Why should artists have a DJ host a mixtape for them? Nowadays, it's not just only about albums. It's also about mixtapes. Why should an artist have a DJ to host their mixtape for them?
Well, the mixtape, the mixtapes will never die. I just think that they are not as useful as they once were, because now we're into the streaming part of the world, and now we can do what the majors do. You know what I mean? So if it's on Tidal, then your music can be on Tidal too. If it's on the playlist, then your music can be on the playlist too. At the height of mixtapes, that wasn't available to the average artist. But the mixtape still reigns, because the mixtape is and will be the underground into the mainstream. So, hosting is just, that's a thing that the DJs do. We come from that. So I think that, it's bigger than just promoting an artist. It's more so just, letting people know. It's like Don King, just promoting the boxers. It's the same situation. It's just with the music.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Stack or Starve app is available. You can get it anywhere. How can people get it? I'm going to let you have that. How can people get that app, man?
Yeah, man. The app is available on the iPad. It's available in Apple Store. It's available, BlackBerry, Google. Yeah, we rock it.
And people are curious to know about the albums that I mentioned earlier, the Mineral Water.
Dope hip hop album I've been working on for the last 4 years. This project is something I scrapped maybe 7 times. I'm one of those executive producers that, I just like to take artists and producers and collide them together and make really good music.
I love it.
It's got a real dope hip hop feel. Think 90s, think that old Hov, that old Nas, that old Biggie.
Yeah.
Mixed with some of today's heavy bass, etc. So it's like got everything. It's soulful. It's political. It's party. It's everything, and it's going to be coming out in 2020. But to celebrate it in March for March Madness, I dropped a project of B-sides that didn't make the cut. And I took 31 songs and dropped one every day. And the name of that project is 31 Days. And 31 Days of Water was the concept for it. So every single day we dropped one. You can stream that right now on SoundCloud. I am dropping the vinyl for that in 2 months. So the vinyl, the limited edition vinyl will be out as well in a couple months of 31 Days of Water. It's going to be a collector's piece because it's going to come with merchandise and it's going to come with, a poster. And I think we're going to do like a merchandise piece with it. And I'm going to do a nice pop-up as well. So
Nice.
Yeah, so the Mineral Water album coming out 2020. I got a lot of dope features on there. Freddie Gibbs is on the album. BJ the Chicago Kid's on the album. Got G Herbo on the album. It's going to be really special. This is going to be something very special.
You mentioned some great heavy hitters from the go, man. That's what I'm talking about. Nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful album, man. I took my time on it. I got over 200 songs recorded. I think I'm gonna try to this fall. I'm gonna try to knock out like 25 more.
Nice.
And we're just gonna pick the best ones. There's maybe 5 to 6 songs that I know gonna make it. Then there's more songs that I just want to try to make sure I cover every element for this project.
Right.
You know what I mean, it's very important to me. The project's gonna have an accompanying documentary my life as well as the making of the project. There's also going to be a comic book with this album, a tour that I'm going to be doing over in Europe, and I'm going to bring back over to the States. And it's going to be more of an experience, man. You know what I mean? I'm going to do a live band show where the artists come out and perform to a live band, the entire album. I just want it to be an experience versus like just some upload that you can get online.
Well, I love it, man. Can't wait for it. The audience can't wait for it.
The website is mineralwaterh2o.com. Just to be updated on it. You can go on there right now. We got like 30 episodes of the making of it. I think I dropped like 30 different trailers just showing like the making of the album. Mm-hmm. So you can go to mineralwaterh2o.com and look at that. And the album coming soon.
Okay, be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. Before we let you go, man, any final words, any last piece of advice you want to share to our listeners?
Yeah, stay positive, man. Even through the hard times, everybody's no different than one another. We all have issues, whether it's family, whether it's sickness, whether it's death, whether it's stress. Just stay positive through it all. And one thing about it, there will be a better day. Definitely. And I want to close out, too, going back to the label thing. Make sure you not only have an attorney with you, but make sure you read those contracts. That's right. Read the contracts. Understand what certain words are. Yeah. There's certain words and certain language that you might not understand. So make sure you just, or just consult the right people that you can trust. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we was talking about having that team. You got to have that team of people. So read your contracts, know what you're getting into, know the business side of the industry. Don't just go in and just
rap or sing and then that's it. Make sure you educate yourself on the business side. It would definitely help you go further in the industry. All right. So social media.
Sir.
So how can people get in contact with you or follow you on all social media?
Everything's Dope from the Go. That's DOUGH from DAGO. Dope from the Go. And that's everything. Every platform from Pinterest to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail, everything. Dope from the Go.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, where we really appreciate it. Dope from the Go. Continue to give us great talent. And shout outs to Def Jam for helping us out with this interview. Def Jam, salute to you and the team over there. And also Jared Oliveri and Marshall Lyons of BV Mobile Apps for helping orchestrate this amazing interview. Appreciate it, and
sir.
much success to you, my man.
Yes, sir. Bless.
All right. This has been the BV Mobile Apps Podcast with the architect, Sean Garvey. Check us out next time for more of the BV Mobile Apps Podcast with your host, Sean Garvey.
It's a new year. It's a new day. We're starting it over. Starting the day.
Thank you for listening to the BV Mobile Apps Podcast with your host, Sean Garvey. For more information about BV Mobile Apps, visit the website, bvmobileapps.com. Don't forget to follow BV Mobile Apps on social media at BV Mobile Apps. Tune in again next time on the BV Mobile Apps Podcast.